I was at my local grocery store this weekend. I looked over in the corner and there was this large pole with a lot of solar panels at the bottom of it, and it had some cameras and flashing lights on top. I walked inside the store and there was a uniformed security guy there, and I said, "Well, what's going on? Why so much security?" And he just told us that we just want to make sure that you're safe and secure during your shopping experience. So today we're going to talk about technology and security, humans working together to make a more safe environment. Thank you for joining us. This is the SAFESECURE 360 podcast. There's safety in numbers.
Lieutenant Robert Henry is an honorably retired law enforcement commander from Houston with over 35 years of public service experience. I'm Daniel Ziegler. I've been asking questions all my life, and on this show, I do my best to ask the questions that the public would like to know the answer to. The SAFESECURE 360 podcast is intended to provide you, the listener, with information about current events and ongoing societal challenges to help make your life safer. Thank you for listening. This is the SAFESECURE 360 podcast. There is safety in numbers. Well, Robert, thank you for sitting down with us today. Today we're talking about technology and humans working together to make a real blanket of safety and security around a business. We often are hired to provide uniform security for sites that already have these big construction towers. So for those who don't know, let's talk about these big camera towers like you were talking about earlier. These are a solar-powered camera tower that's tall that can survey a whole area of the property. What's the advantage of this, and why would a business have one of these in their parking lot?
Well, the advantage is there's a couple of advantages. One of them is the deterrent ability. The cameras may not even work, or that no one's watching them, and it's not even turned on. But if a potential criminal sees that, they may say, I'm not going to commit that crime today or tonight because the eye in the sky here is watching me and recording me and perhaps live monitored, and they have the ability to contact someone to come and intercept me prior to or during the commission of some offense that I may decide to take. So that's the first value, is just having it there. And criminals are pretty sophisticated sometimes. They'll research that product and they'll try to find out how it works, and they'll try to figure out some countermeasures to be able to get around it.
So I normally see those in parking lots, construction sites. I guess these would be places that there would be enough of a draw for a criminal to come in and steal something. That's where these cameras go up. Is that where people put cameras?
Yes, the camera has the ability to have a wide angle of view. The cameras can also be used to a certain distance at night. The cameras can also be tilt, pan, and zoom cameras where the operator can focus on something in particular or zoom in on it to obtain a license plate number or something like that, or a description of a person that they want to look at. So the cameras are strategically placed dependent upon the need of the client. Have they experienced a crime? Do they anticipate that could be a crime victim? Are they building something that is vulnerable that they want to keep an eye on? All these factors play into place as to what type of technology you may use, where do you place it, how does it work, and is it effective, I guess, is the last test about that. So there is more and more of these cameras coming in. $2.7 billion in 2024 nationally was spent on these cameras. So I think there is a role for them in crime prevention first, detection second, and perhaps an aid to prosecution third.
So let's talk about that aid to prosecution some more. A camera can't write a police report. A camera can't arrive at the scene and have a physical presence there. So what's missing is a human element of a police officer or a security officer. What would be, so you have a camera to deter people to make them work harder to come take what you have, a deterrent thing. and then you have it so that you could possibly register their license plate and more easily find out who did it. But then somebody has to prosecute all this. What does that role look like? What's the role of a first responder like in a scene where, let's say somebody does drive up onto a property and they're not supposed to be there. The camera operator notices and presses the alert button, and a first responder is called. How does that play out from that point?
All right, those are multiple different things, so I'll break that down. Let's say, first let me describe how cameras work. All functional contemporary camera systems record. They are recorded to a DVD or to some type of cloud application, but they're all recording. The owner sets the duration of the recording and sets how long that will be valid before it re-records over itself. They determine the retention time to keep that video. The second component that is more advanced is a live monitoring scenario. Now, the video is still being recorded. However, there is some operator or dispatcher or camera monitoring person, a live person, who is watching live in real time what is happening at the placement location of the camera. So when they see this, there may be an alarm set up that if a vehicle drives past this camera, it turns on and alerts the operator, hey, take a closer look at this because someone just drove in this forbidden zone that we are protecting and watching. When that happens, the operator may elect to or not elect to contact someone. The physical ability to respond to the camera incident is mandatory. Someone has to come out there. Some of these cameras may have a flashing light, or they may have some type of audio ability where they say the police have been called and attempt to scare you or deter you or stop you from what conduct you're doing. But sometimes it's not effective because these criminals sometimes will wear clothing or a hoodie, or they'll wear like a COVID mask or some sunglasses and some gloves. You can't even tell who they are. You can't even tell their height, weight, sex, race, anything, because they're overcoming that with those countermeasures. And remember, their task and their window of opportunity is very small. So by the time they arrive on the scene, already planned out, already equipped on what they're going to do, they're not staying there for 30 minutes. They're going in, doing what they need to do, and then they're leaving. Now, can the camera system see that person? Can they determine, first of all, are they in an unauthorized area? Secondly, are they about to commit or are they committing a crime against our client's property? And then they may look for a vehicle. Did they drive a vehicle in? Well, yes, they did. There it is. It's a blue Chevrolet. Is that a stolen car? We don't know. Is the license plate visible? Maybe or maybe not. Maybe they took it off for this crime. However, maybe they put a piece of duct tape over the numbers and you can't see the numbers. And when they're done, they take it off. So there's a lot of ways to do this. But back to the original question, this information that's being recorded, this crime event or this preparatory offense that's about to occur that you think is interesting because you've started recording it and tuned into it, is what I call the official memory of the event. 5 years from now, a year from now, when this is being prosecuted or being shown to a jury, it doesn't change. It's always the same. There it is. Here's the time. Here's the date, the location. Here's the people. Here they are right here that come onto the scene. Here's what they drove. Here's what they did. It's all recorded, and it never, ever changes. The downside may be that the dimensionality of it is one-dimensional, where if you had two cameras recording different perspectives, you may have a more robust story to tell that you've captured. But I think the camera footage is very valuable in a prosecution attempt because a jury likes to see things that make sense to them. It's reasonable. It's simple. There it is. It takes you back to that place where this happened, like a story. And you're watching this like a movie. And now, when they're telling you these things that are allegedly occurred, you're watching it. And now you're deciding if that's true or not. And it helps formulate an opinion in your mind whether an offense occurred or did not.
So the advantage of the camera in a prosecution sense is that it's even more reliable than a witness would have been because it's a year since then. So the camera still maintains the same footage. So why would someone, you're describing a really advanced system that's really useful and really helpful for deterring crime, preventing some of it. Why are we then hired to put uniformed security at a location that has that camera system? What does the uniformed security provide the cameras that needs with it?
The approach of incorporating uniformed security officers on the side of the client, along with the technology assistance that's provided by a camera, is the best of both worlds. Now you have a multiplier of officer presence because they can't be in the back of the location, the front of the location, to the left or the right of it, but these cameras can be. And they supplement the officer. So when something is detected, the officer on site is contacted or maybe live viewing it on their cell or maybe live viewing it on a pad or in their vehicle, and they're able to immediately respond to that location and deter them or scare them away or in some way contact these people and stop them from what they're doing, or perhaps make an arrest. So the technology that exists, supplemented by the human ability to respond, whether it's a security officer or a police officer ultimately, is very good. Sometimes there is a significant delay in someone in a camera company flipping the switch and saying, hey, we've got people on our site and they're breaking in or they're doing some type of offense. We need the police. Well, the police are coming, and you're talking to their dispatcher and you're telling them the story. Some technology exists now where the camera technology and what they're seeing, the operator is seeing, can be sent to the police, and they can watch it also. And that may shape or enhance or the rapidness of response. But police respond on a hierarchy of priorities of the call. If there's a threat to life or if there's some type of significant, serious thing going on, the police are going to that first. And then this call will be important. However, it will be placed in a queue along with 25 other calls, perhaps right now. And then when the police officer is able to be freed up from a more significant, serious offense, then they will respond to this. It may be 9 minutes, it may be 59 minutes. You just don't know because you don't know what the resources are, you don't know how heavy the call load is, and you don't know what priority that queue is taking over this call. So having the technology there, the cameras, along with private security, is a great idea because they're there, they're focused, and they can handle the response in person in a timely manner.
And as we're describing these, a live monitored camera takes people to monitor the camera. This technology, you said it earlier, but it multiplies the presence of an officer. So you could have one camera operator viewing many sites, and you could have, if you had a big enough site, you could have several cameras where one officer would patrol through them, and you'd be able to see all of this. So it's a really great thing about multiplying presence. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to hit the alert button. Somebody's got to talk to the first responders. And it's best when there's an officer on site that can help deal with the situation now. The officer must provide even more. The advantage of the cameras, like you said, are being a deterrent. Having a human being up there with flashing lights on their car is more of a deterrent. It would make you really question if you really wanted to go in and be a criminal in that location or not. What are there other benefits that the security officer provides? They also, I know that they write reports at the end of the day. This must go into the evidence collecting for the prosecution part of this as well. How does that work where the officer reports what they saw as well as the camera reports what they saw?
Yes, I think it's a really good combination of enhancing this event and how we're describing it and how we're describing what took place and what their role was and what the officer's role was and what they saw. They're writing this report, whether it's handwritten or digitally written, and that also becomes an official memory of the event. So you have that along with the camera. You've got a really good place as far as prosecuting this and telling your story to a jury or a judge that doesn't know anything about this. So that's a real good way to do it. Let me talk about this for a moment. What if you had multiple locations? Let's say it's an ABC food store, just for instance, and there were 9 of them in your city or in your area, and there's been systemic violence that's been occurring or systemic burglaries or some type of property crime that's occurring, and you decide, look, I want to do a hybrid approach to putting cameras up at these stores. However, we tried this, and we had an incident occur at one of our locations, and it took the police 2 hours to get there, or they never showed up. Now, the crime that we reported wasn't really seriously significant where someone's life was threatened, but it was a property crime. There was a car stolen or vandalized, or they damaged our building in some way. But we're canceling our camera system because there's no boots on the ground to respond. The police, like we said, are coming, but you just can't guarantee it when they're going to be there. So we have a concept where if you had 5 of those locations, let's just say in a city, we have a patrol concept where we patrol all 5 of those locations systematically, checking on things, making sure everything's okay, and reporting this in our notes and in our daily activity report. And then we're waiting for an alert to occur from one of the sites, from our camera operator seeing something, and then our patrol officer in a patrol vehicle with flashing lights responds to that location as soon as possible, immediately. And that solves that gap in coverage that you're waiting for the police to come. The police may eventually still be involved in this, but it's only going to be after, or typically after, we arrive as security officers and take care of the immediate need.
I think that's a really interesting thing. And boots on the ground, we've been talking to camera companies, and some of them are saying that they lose contracts sometimes because of the response, how long it takes to have the response come through. So again, this human interaction with the cameras is such a valuable tool together. How would someone go about finding both sides of that and knowing that the camera company is legit and that the officer presence is a good trained officer with good policy? How would they go about sourcing out, finding these 2 companies to work with?
People in the retail grocery business, like we just gave an example of, are not security experts. They sell retail products. That's their job. They don't have anything to do with security or crime. You make them do it by default because no one, who's going to do it? Why don't you do it? Okay, you're in charge of security now. You raise your, and you have no background in security or anything to do with security, and you just think, well, that's a good idea. So then the contractor that you find to put the cameras in, or the security company that you find to be there, to be your asset, may not be on the same page as you. You may not have the same objectives. You may not have the same strategy that you have in your mind to accomplish your goal, whatever that may be. So my advice is to hire a security consulting firm that is a good one, and that has great reviews and great client base and knows what they're doing, and have them come out. Typically, it's complimentary. We do it for no charge. Come out to the location that you have in question and let us do a security assessment of it and tell you, look, you don't have lights in this area, or you've got parking lot issues in this area, or there's some type of vulnerability that we see that you may not see. And then let us fill a strategy out to be able to address this and overcome these risks. That's my advice.
There must be people looking for solutions. This is a growing industry. You said it's $2.7 billion spent on cameras in 2024. They're saying it's projected to reach $3.9 billion in the next 5 years, 2029. So there must be people looking for this service. Maybe they just weren't aware that these two services exist or didn't know the specifics of it. So hiring a security consulting firm could really help somebody that's so focused on retail, they just want to do their job and sell their products. That can help them find out how much services they need and which services they need through finding reputable companies with that. Well, I think this is such an interesting topic. As we always say, there's safety in numbers, and we love working together with our clients to give them to help them flesh out their ideas about what they need and then accomplish those. Are there any other thoughts you have for people that are looking for security, or people that maybe have the cameras that have thought about hiring uniform security or vice versa? Is there anything else that they should consider while they're making this choice about how to better accomplish their goals for their business?
We have successfully used this model where we have a client, a large big box store, hardware store chain, where we have used the camera system and the security officer together. It's a great solution because it solves on one hand what the other one presents on the other hand, right? So it is a well thought through solution to be able to handle this problem. So I've never seen it done really before, or really effectively done, but we've done it. And we really had a good experience, and there were no crime incidents that occurred over months and months of doing this. So we're very proud of this approach that we take, and I encourage people who are looking for security services to reduce their risk, to reduce their loss, to reduce their reputation impact, to contact us. You can just contact our website, SAFESECURE 360. We're based in the Woodlands area, and we'd love to serve you.
Well, thank you, Robert. This has been the SAFESECURE 360 podcast, and we are a security consulting firm. So if this episode was interesting to you and you have more questions, please reach out to us at SAFESECURE360.com. This is Robert Henry. I'm Daniel Ziegler, and this has been the SAFESECURE 360 podcast. There is safety in numbers. The information provided in our podcasts is for general information uses only and is not intended as legal advice. The views and opinions expressed by the guests are their own. Always consult with a qualified professional before making safety and security decisions. For more information about this topic, check out our website at SAFESECURE360.com.